Hey there, it's Ezra Clark, and today I'm going to be explaining switchball. Switchball is a combination of the three sports that Australians and Americans normally can relate to: American football, rugby, and tag. Before I stop sharing this, I'm just going to say that the object of the game is to use all players to get to the other side of the field for a point. Now I'm going to share a field to show you um, what exactly this looks like. Alrighty, so draw a field, make it green. Alrighty, now I need to make the lines for this zone. Right, so there's this big blue line at the end here, and a big blue line here. It would be much straighter in real life, just getting a good idea of what it looks like right here. Alrighty, so I'm going to make 5 offensive players. It doesn't really matter how many people you put in here. This is just the example I'm going to do. And I'm going to do 5 defensive players. Make sure, though, they have the same number of players on each side, or else this game can get a little messed up. All right, so team offense has the ball. It's right here. Oh, by the way, this is an American football that you're using. So when a play starts, all of the defenders rush up at the same time. All of the offenders rush up. Offense, they want to try and use every single one of the players to make it to the other side of this blue line right here without being tackled or flag pulling for those violent versions before they reach the yellow-blue line. This guy starts with the ball and he comes up here. Now, a rule for this game is that this guy cannot be blocked by any one of the other guys here unless they have had the ball before him. So usually the first one who starts off with the ball doesn't have any blockers. In order to get a blocker, you have to pass it on to someone else. So there's someone over here, and he can't, there's no mid-air throwing. The ball must be handed off to each other. That's why it's called switch ball. So once the ball is handed off either which way, this person who was the beginner now can block this guy, but still none of the other guys can go. Now let's say a defender comes and gets this guy before this guy can block him. The tackle or the flag pulling, whatever happens, the ball stops right here in this area. And now it's given to the defense. So the defense now has a chance to do the exact same thing the offense just tried to do. Let's say that, here, I'm going to erase what's happened on the field so far. All right, let's say that the team makes it on the other side of the field. So let's say there's a red guy right here. Right here. That's not working. Come on. Aha. All right. There's a red guy right here. And all the other guys got juked or something, and now they're all over here. Because the offending team did a good job blocking for them. That was terrible. All right. So, this is a point. All right. So the guy with the ball has gotten a point. Once that this point has happened, they give it to the other team and they start. Now I'm going to go back to the rule book. Alrighty, so as you saw right there, the ball was used as an American football, but it doesn't actually matter what size it is. Just since throwing it doesn't matter, all you need to do is hand it off. The time is also similar to American football, but it can obviously be adjusted. If you're trying to do it in a PE class, you don't have hours upon hours to do this. Again, you can do five to seven players is probably how it should be, but you can also do it more or less. And the length of the field is 60 by 30 meters. And there's blue lines at the end that you saw. You mark a line across space for a point. It doesn't really matter how big the field is again. It's just to make it established. Teams must start the play on opposite sides of the 60 meters. So like you saw, there's defenders on one side and the offense on the other. Before being allowed to score a point, all players must hold the ball for at least 3 seconds before handing off. So I didn't talk about this in the whiteboard, but all 5 of the red players that were up there must have handled the ball for 3 seconds before the entire team is allowed to pass the defenders and make it past the blue line. So again, you cannot score unless all your players have held it for 3 seconds. To stop a player, one must tackle the ball, or for pulling flags, again, like I told you. The tackle results to an immediate turnover to the other team, and it can be made only below the hips. So again, flag pulling will be at the hips, so it's fine. Players may not block the defense into tackling their player with the ball unless they've already held the ball. So like I said, the first player who has the ball cannot be blocked. But if you have handled the ball, you are allowed to block the ball handler. Block for the ball handler, excuse me. As long as everyone has held the ball for the appropriate time, anyone can score a point. So unlike American football and rugby and light tag, there are no positions. An extra point can be made if they're able to make it to the end of the 60 meters with only using each player once. So that would mean 4 switches to each player. The first player has the ball, switches it to the second, third, fourth, and fifth, and the 5th person scores. That's how you get 2 points instead of 1. The play is stopped if the other team drops the ball goes out of bounds, or they are tackled. Simple as that. It gives it back to the other team at the blue line, and they get to start and try. There are 3 timeouts per half in each team, and they each give 1 minute each, again, like American football. But timeouts don't matter that much if you aren't doing official rules. In the event of a tie, the team with less game time with the ball wins. So in American football, I know that this happens never, but there's always teams that handle the ball less and still score the same amount of points as the other team. So in the case of a tie, there are no overtime. It's simply just give the win to the team with less game time. So that means that you want to be able to get across the field a lot quicker than the other team, just in case that the end result is a tie. All right, so there are 4 penalties for this. So offensive holding is when an offensive player uses his hands, arms, or other parts of his body to prevent a defensive player from tackling the ball carrier. You can only do you can only just push them, shove them, but you're not allowed to shove them over either. Just don't hold on to them. You only get to block for them, and it's full contact, but don't try to hold on to the player, or else the ball will be immediately turned over to the defense. Defensive holding is when a player tackles or holds an offensive player other than the ball carrier. So for the play is given back to the offense, and the defense must wait 10 seconds before trying to attack the offense. So like you saw how the yellow guys were over on the blue side over here. The red guys have 10 seconds to move across the field without the yellow people trying to get them at all. All right, personal foul. So an illegal flagrant foul considered risky to the health of another player. So for defense, if the ball is given over to the defense if it's an offensive person at fault, or 10-second delay is used for the defense. So if the defense is at fault. Delay of game. This is one that happens a lot in American football, and it's the most embarrassing penalty you can do. It's an action that delays the game, and it means basically you let the play clock time run out. So you're always allowed a couple seconds before you start your play. But if you don't get there in time, you will be the offense or defense that committed the crime must be delayed 5 seconds before starting. So if the offense were delayed, the offense would have the ball, but they would wait 5 seconds. The defense has a chance to get ready for the other team, so they have 5 seconds ahead of time. Or again, the defense has to wait and offense can move the ball across the field. All right, so that is switchball. And as you saw there, it was a sport that you probably never even thought of, and hope you guys like it.